Evening. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2026. The time is 6:30 p.m. We are calling to order the Village of Lincoln Heights Committee of the Whole meeting. Roll call, please. Ms. Randolph,
Mayor Tanya Key,
present.
Vice Mayor Durant Daniels. No response. Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Present.
Councilwoman Saritha Brown,
Present.
Councilwoman Trina Carter,
Present.
Councilman Norbury Tate.
Present.
Mayor, we do have 5 who are present, 1 who is absent. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. That's Councilman Norbury Tate. And just for the record, Vice Mayor Daniels will be in attendance shortly. So the item that we have on our agenda, the first item is new business. This will be the first reading for ordinance number 2026-03, and that is our annual 2026 permanent appropriation ordinance. And we are scheduled to have a public hearing immediately after this meeting. Mr. Gaines, do you have anything that you would like to say regarding this prior to the public hearing?
Thank you, Mayor Key. Nothing specific that I would like to say in pertaining to the 2026 permanent appropriations. So before you all have the copy of how our funds are going to be allocated for the fiscal year 2026, and we'll be able to provide some details associated with each fund, including the special revenue funds. And so nothing in particular at this point in time. However, if you all have any questions, we'll be more than happy to provide answers for those.
Thank you. I do want to say that the information has been sent out to all members of council. It was also published according to our codes in the newspaper, and we have received that publication, that information that was published. It was also published on our social media sites as well. And so if council has any questions regarding it, I would ask that we hold it until the public hearing, because some of those questions may get answered. And then if you have any questions at that point, we're able to open it up and ask questions. And I did receive information that there may be residents who had questions as well. My recommendation is that we continue to have conversations regarding it. We can have additional conversations regarding it in our finance committee meetings, as well as reaching out directly to the village manager if there was any additional questions. That's all I have on that one. If there's any questions from council at this time? All right. Next item on the Committee of the Whole meeting agenda is a Resolution 2026-R29. It's the resolution authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement with Bricker Graydon Wyatt LLP to perform legal services. You have received the legislation and you've received some information regarding Bricker Graydon Wyatt Legal Services. The manager also submitted today, I want to make sure that everybody has this, it's a copy of the agreement for professional services. It's a standalone copy. Ms. Randolph just made copies and passed them out. So they were not in our original packet that came out last week. And so because of that, I'm going to ask that this legislation be referred to Law and Public Safety, which will be meeting this upcoming Monday, to have additional, give us additional time to read through the contract, as well as ask any questions, and then we can bring it back to council at our next council meeting. Does everybody have a copy of that? I see it's kind of looking through. It's by itself. Ms. Randolph, did you put it in their folders?
Yes, it's paper clipped.
All right, and it says agreement professional services, and it starts off with this agreement, and then it goes into Village of Lincoln Heights, and it talks about the law firm.
Is it possible for us to get some more law firms that that we can take a look at as well, you know, other than just this one?
I think that's a great question, and the village manager has the purview to select the law firm, but I think it would be worth having conversation on how you selected it and sharing with the rest of council the other law firms that may have been had presented their proposal, because it's my understanding that there was. I just don't know who they are. Mr. Gaines?
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I always want to call you Mr. Gaines. Mr. Brown.
'Cause he got them two last names.
He got those two first names, two last
Yeah.
names.
Thank you, Mayor Key, and Councilwoman Berber, thank you for that question. As it pertains to the amount of submissions we received for our legal services RFP, I'll be honest and say we only received one, and it was this one. Not entirely certain why. This was posted on LinkedIn. This was posted on the Center for Local Governments. This was posted on our website and all of our social media outlets. Difficult to say why there was a lack of interest in applying or submitting a proposal for this purpose, but this was the singular proposal that we received for legal services. And with respect to where we are currently, I believe it is important that we move forward with it, but if we need additional time this was submitted, I believe, the beginning of January, and the RFP closed. I'm sorry, the RFP was initiated, I believe, in December of like 2025, and then the RFP closed in January 31st of 2026. That is the sum total of proposals that we received for legal services.
Thank you. I apologize. I misspoke.
Madam Mayor.
Maybe it was the other position that you had.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Councilwoman Brown?
A couple of things. Well, my first thing was y'all know I'm a researcher, so I did look into other law firms that would possibly fit for us. Not saying that you didn't, but with that, using this firm, which will be fine, have we reached out and looked into the work that they've done or how they've moved in these other municipalities? Because I see Gulf Manor there. I've talked to a lot of Gulf Manor people. They're not in much better situation than we are in a lot of things. So just looking into the work that they've done and how they're really servicing the municipalities that they already sit for, have we done our due diligence?
Yes, I believe we did our due diligence as it pertains to doing marketing, making sure that we are casting a wide net to get interest for our legal services position. And I have met with Ben Yoder and had conversations about some of the things that they've done in other municipalities, Gulf Manor included, and they have strong references. One of the things that was really of interest was community economic development. They have worked through various iterations of CRA and other programs that are helpful for local municipalities for community economic development, and that was something that was of interest for us for sure.
So I guess my question is not talking to Yoder or because I think that's one of the lawyers' names in there, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily speaking with them, because they're gonna not tell you that they did not do their best or fulfill whatever. I'm saying speaking to the council in that community, that maybe even some of the residents in that community, to say, hey, you know, we're looking to acquire this solicitor. What would you say about him? Because I'm not going to tell you that I did a poor job, right? I'm going to sell myself. So I'm just saying from our perspective, have we taken that one step further to check them out? Not saying that they're not reputable, not saying that they are not telling us the truth, but the check and double check is always better. And where we've come from, and where the things we've already been through, I think is not much to ask to do just that double check.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've contacted their references just to make sure that everything was on the up and up. They have served in several different municipalities through Ohio. I think in Butler County they've worked for a couple of local municipalities there, and Warren County as well. So They have a strong proposal that they have submitted, and we're confident that they'll be able to provide legal services. I understand that there is some hesitance because of the volume of proposals that have been submitted, but after meeting with them and conferring with their references, I believe that this is a good fit.
Thank you. I do concur with what Councilmember Brown is saying, considering where we are coming out of. We want to make sure, and I recognize that this is the only proposal that we received. I thought I heard kind of some conversation that there were others who were at least considering or, what have you with the proposals. And so if that's the case, we do want to make sure that we are doing our full due diligence. And so we have between now and Monday, because Monday is your next law and public safety meeting, right? But I am going to make a recommendation to refer this to law for Monday. And so whatever additional information you can provide council so that council is comfortable with the legal services that we are looking to acquire, we should be able to do so. And so if that's a matter of their references, who you've contacted, thank you for doing your due diligence and looking at the communities that they have served before. And council members recognize that as council members, we can reach out to other council members as a matter of, peer-to-peer questions and ask questions if we want to as well. That's part of what we can do. But I will be making that recommendation to refer this to law, and hopefully you guys can be able to get the information that is needed. We get all the information that's needed, get all of our questions answered, and then we will look to bring this back to council at our next council meeting. Okay? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is, I'm sorry, was there any other questions on that? All right. And so we will make sure that we send all the information out to all of council, so everybody will receive it. But as many who can, if you have any additional questions after reading the contract, please be prepared for those questions in law and public safety. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2026 R30, resolution authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement with the Voice of Your Customer, LLC, to provide digital marketing and communication services. You have received the legislation for this resolution. You have received it in a timely fashion, but what I did not see was the actual contract for that. And Mr. Gaines, he does have that. And once again, we want to make sure that we have enough time to process through all of the information before we make our final decisions. I have seen this organization do business, but I have not seen the actual contract. So I want to be able to see the contract before we move forward. So I will be asking for this legislation also to move to your committee as well, to review it so that we have enough time to review the contract, come back with any questions. And so if you have any additional questions after we receive the contract, I believe you said you do have it. Okay. And please, let's put it on record. Mr. Gaines just got married. And so a lot was going on over the last couple weeks. And so we're going to give him some grace. But he does have the contract. He's going to submit it to us. It is not hurting us to take an additional couple weeks to do review of it. And so if you would provide that with us, we'll take a look at it and bring it back to the next council meeting.
Okay, and Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to see information on other people that do this as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mayor Key, if I may.
Yes.
Councilman Weber, thank you so much for sharing those comments, because I have a score sheet of all the proposals that were submitted and the notes associated with the follow-up that I did with their references. I had individual meetings with those that scored in the top five, so that way you'll be able to see what the breakdown was and how that decision was made.
But excuse me, by chance, did you reach out to the person that works with Woodlawn? Just out of curiosity. And I meant to bring his information, but I left it from doing too much.
So similarly, I believe I released the RFPs, I believe like mid-December of 2025, and they closed on the same day, January 31st, 2026. I didn't reach out to them specifically, but I did confer with Village Manager Tim Engel of Woodline. He did forward me their contact information. I let them know that we're going to be initiating an RFP for this purpose. I don't believe that we received a proposal from them, though.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, thank you. Once again, same thing. Provide that score sheet. That would be great.
Got it.
And if we have any additional questions, we'll be able to address those in that meeting, Law and Public Safety. All right. So both of those items, we're going to be referring them. So what's going to happen is Ms. Randolph is going to read it by title only. We'll make a motion to refer. Right. The next few items on the agenda, we have them all under the consent agenda. And the purpose for that is that we have quite a bit of legislation that really is organizational, setting appointments. But we wanted to make sure that we all knew the process again for this. If there is anything in any of that legislation that you are not interested in voting on at this time and you want to pull it out, all of council has the option to pull that out. And the reason why we did that today is because, number one, we know we have a public hearing that's coming up. We know we have quite a few items on the agenda. Parliamentary procedure can keep us here long just through parliamentary procedure. And so the consent agenda is just to help us process through that as quickly as we can without, just kind of letting the meeting kind of go on just because we got to go through parliamentary procedure. And so I'm going to read all of the items, the titles. We tried to make the title descriptive enough so that you knew exactly what was in the legislation. And so the first one is Resolution 2026 R31. That's a resolution removing Ruby Kinsey Mumphrey as signer for the First National Bank connected with the payroll for the Village of Lincoln Heights. And this is very similar to what we did earlier in the year, removing her from all the accounts. The next item is Resolution 2026 R32. That's the resolution authorizing Vice Mayor Durance Daniels as the signer for the First Financial Bank National Association account connected with payroll for the Village of Lincoln Heights. The next item is Resolution 2026 R33. It's authorizing Gaines Brown as a signer for the First Financial Bank National Association account connected with payroll for the Village of Lincoln Heights. And once again, this is organizational structure to make sure that we have the proper signers on our accounts and make sure that the individuals who were on the accounts have been removed from the accounts. The next items are resolutions that will be appointing to boards and commissions. And so that's Resolution 2026 R34 is a resolution appointing Tierra Carter to the Recreation Commission. Resolution 2026 R35, a resolution appointing Tierra Carter also to the Planning Commission. Resolution 2026 R36, resolution approving the appointment of Ms. Valerie Kendrick to the Tax Board of Review. Resolution 2026 R37, resolution appointing Mr. Gary Brown to the Education Commission. Resolution 2026 R38, resolution appointing Gary Brown to the Personnel Appeals Board. Resolution 2026 R39 is a resolution appointing Ms. Deborah Holloway, to the Education Commission. Resolution 2026 R40 is a resolution appointing Mr. Gary Brown to the Charter Revision Committee. And then finally, Resolution 2026 R41, resolution appointing the Finance Committee, and that's through Chair Councilwoman Trina Carter. We have that legislation now appointing that committee. That particular committee, the council members that will be appointed to that committee will be Councilwoman Sarita Brown, Councilwoman Phyllis Baber, and Vice Mayor Durance Daniels. Okay, and that will be for committee 2026 through 2027. Any questions on that?
I do. I have a question, Madam Mayor. Yes. I was just curious when I was reading on why didn't we remove and appoint when we did it in January? Why didn't we do it over for all accounts?
I'm not sure, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Councilman Brown, that is a great question. We recently met with Ms. Corey Brandoff, and she informed us that while we did successfully remove and add for the other counts, there was another one that was associated with payroll. So that way we can have that taken care of. And being that we hadn't taken care of that, we wanted to make sure that that was on the agenda for this evening.
So was it like a oversight or just somebody, we weren't aware that there were multiple accounts, or I'm just curious. So I don't know if we were moving too fast, if or what happened, because I just seemed like that we should have done all the accounts and known of all the accounts that people should have been removed from and the others added to, and when we did it in the beginning.
Yeah,
Just was curious.
Yeah, for sure. And when that was brought to my attention, we wanted to make sure that this was something that was submitted to council as soon as possible. The two primary accounts, I believe, for Mayor's Court and for the general fund were submitted, but this was one that I was not aware of at the time. But after conferring with the representative from First Financial and them notifying us that this was the case, we wanted to make sure to bring that as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
I have a question,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
about this, but I was wondering if it would be possible to move our committee meetings on Monday to Tuesday, this coming week, just this one. Well, law and finance.
So to tomorrow?
No.
Oh, I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
No. They are scheduled for next Monday, which is Easter Monday. And so I was wondering if we could schedule them for Tuesday instead.
But excuse me.
Yes.
We have, remember, we have that Respect My Block the first Tuesday of April,
Oh, that's right.
which is the 7th.
No, I'm sorry. Who's chair and Respect My Block? I'm just curious.
We don't have one.
We what?
I am de facto.
Wait, whoa. So what we want to do, I did see that in the minutes, and so what we want to do is we want to officially establish that. And if you want to be chair, I don't have a problem with you being chair. If that's what you want, if that's what council wants, I don't have a problem with that. But it has to be established that who's going to chair it, and we can definitely do that. And if it's already been communicated that it's going to be Tuesday, I don't have a problem doing that and setting that. But if we want to, here's what we want to, if we want to change the date just for this one time because it is a holiday week, and typically what happens is if it is a holiday, we will move it back one day, but that's not a holiday that we recognize that Monday as a council, and so the chair can request it, and as long as the committee agrees with it, the chair can request that it's moved. There's a lot of moving parts because now we have ICRC that's going to be covering those meetings. We got to communicate it out. So if we want to do so, let's make that, you guys can have conversations today, and let's make that motion during council that that's what we want to do.
I can say this. We were going to do that meeting at 6:30.
Which meeting?
The Respect My Block.
Okay.
We were going to do that at 6:30. So if you want to do your finance meeting at 5:30 Tuesday.
I could do that, and we could talk about it. The reason, to be honest, the reason I was wondering, hoping we could move it is because I know me personally, I will be traveling and I might get back on time, but and I was just thinking because school is still out that day, so I don't know how many other people will be traveling. So we don't have to move it just for me, but for finance, I think that Tuesday would be better.
So if you want to set it to that, being that you're the chair of finance, you can. Let's announce it in committee meeting. But as Ms. Baber said, if you all have communicated that we're going to have a Respect My Block on Tuesday, not going to take that away, especially if the residents are already aware of that. Let's look at doing finance at 5:30 that day on that Tuesday, and then Respect My Block at 6:30. Then we can come back at council and go ahead and establish Respect My Block, you as the chair, going on and so forth and so on. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And then one of the things I want to make sure of is because we're getting ready to formally set all of our committee, all of our board meetings, because now we have enough people on boards and commissions that their meetings can be established. So I want to make sure that Law and Public Safety, you are set for the first Mondays at 5:30. Finance, you're set except for this coming Monday. But the first Mondays at 6:30, is that your set? Economic Development, you're set for the third Mondays at 5:30. Recreation, you're set for the third Monday at 6:30. All right. And then we will add Respect My Block to it. Okay? All right. Wonderful. That's all we have on the agenda. The other item that I did want to share with council is our boards and commissions. We are filling our boards and commissions, which we're excited about. We have new members. This is their first time participating in boards. I have had a conversation with Mr. Brown, Village Manager Brown. We want to start implementing training opportunities for our residents who want to serve on boards and commissions. This is also a stepping stone to serve on council as well. And so we're going to look at what trainings could we offer here locally and what trainings can we send our residents to so they can get more information on how to properly fulfill their seats. So you may have heard certain residents on multiple boards. Not all of those boards meet every month. Some of them are as needed, but the ones that meet every month, like Planning Commission, Recreation, we want to make sure that we have a good mix of residents there that can speak or that can give their information on what they would like to see in the community. And so there's a couple other boards and commissions that we are looking for. Tax Board of Review, we need additional individuals for that. Zoning Board of Appeals, we need additional residents for that. And once again, I think the reason why residents don't really step up for those areas is just because they're not familiar with what they would have to do. And so we're going to look at, bringing some trainers in so that people can actually learn a little bit more. Personnel Advisory Board, we need 2 additional residents on there. And our Investment Board, Personnel Advisory Board. We're going to send this out. Ms. Randolph just updated this today with our new appointees. If they're all approved and all the names are already in that spreadsheet, she'll resend that spreadsheet out for you.
I got a couple people that I'm gonna pick up applications from, but I just want to be able to tell them what's still available.
Got it. And then the Housing Board of Appeals. There's no one on the Housing Board of Appeals.
And I know somebody that's interested in recreation. Is there still a seat on recreation?
I think Recreation has been filled. It will be filled today. Hold on a second, I'm sorry. No, there may be one additional seat on Recreation.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Recreation Commission. There's one that's getting appointed today, Ms. Tierra Carter. Charter Review is filled. Records Commission is filled. All right, so we'll pass this out, okay? And maybe we'll ask to post it on our website as well, so that people can go and see what, where they can actually volunteer. Okay? Any questions about the consent agenda? Are we okay with all of those items in the consent agenda? Do we need to bring anything out? Yes, speaking to the mic though. Thank you.
My only question was, Durance, don't check me. $4,000 for the 80th. Is that it, or
$4,000.
is for the 80th anniversary?
I think that's how much that's in the fund right now.
Is that okay? So okay, all right.
That's just what's there.
Okay, all right. I was just trying to get my mind right. Good,
Good question. That's okay.
Okay, that was my only question.
Good question. The beautiful thing about that particular fund is, as we are moving forward with the planning, and as there's people who are looking to donate, the fund has already been established. All the things are already been established for sponsors who want to donate. But my understanding is that that's the amount that has been left over from previous, what have you, because those funds are restricted and they can only be used for the festival time. Okay? Thank you, thank you. Was that
I do
right?
have another question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead, because it's not about the consent agenda.
I have nothing else to add. I'll talk about that a little bit more during the public hearing.
Got it. Is it about the budget?
No, I was just wondering if we have gotten any applications for the 7 seats. Have we heard anything from anyone? Have we received anything?
We have not received any applications, and so now that time limit has expired for that, now I have to appoint. So if there's anyone that you know,
Well, I'm sorry, please finish.
yeah, if there's anyone that you know that might be interested, please let me know, because now that's where we are now, is that according to our rules that the mayor has to appoint that position.
And just because I know two things, I just want to be very clear, just because, once again, just being very in-depth on that particular part of the charter from last year. It was stated that if we did not make any movements towards that, then it would be, because I want to be very clear. I know there's been back and forth questions on the application, if it's going to be online, and those type of things as well. So before we just go straight into appointment, I believe there is a part of our charter, and I'll pull it up, just the exact language there specifically, so we're all on the same page, where it says that if we don't work towards moving that and we have no set plans, then, and I think it's a 60-day trigger mark at that point. But I'll just pull it up, because have we had an online application portion of it yet?
We've used our same process. I don't think that there's been the online, unless you did it and I don't know.
I've not been able to create a digital form for that at this point in time, but that is available here on site.
Yeah. So if you know of someone who is interested, the application process is still open. I am not saying that we are not going to work together to try to fill that position. And we have requested it, we have asked, and so if there is no one, then we do have to appoint someone to that seat.
So when did we put the application out? Just out of curiosity, what day did we put the application out? Because it has to, I think the 60 days starts at a certain point too. Just want to be very clear up on that point once again, just based upon all the crap we did last year. When did we officially put the application out? I know we made some adjustments to it.
We made some adjustments to it, and we submitted the application. I can go back and get the time period that the adjustments was made, because there was some language as far as it had the old dates on it from another what have you, but that was submitted out. We can definitely get that and share it with you. I don't have it before me, and I don't want to misspeak.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a question, please?
Yes.
So if there's an individual that you can appoint, why is that individual not applying?
I agree.
Right? I mean,
I'm just going by the rules.
I understand, but if you know of somebody that you can
don't.
appoint, oh, okay, I was about to say,
No,
well, why would we
I
just
just
have
said
that
it. That's the
person
third
apply?
time I said it. I don't have anybody set to appoint. The process is still open.
That you would appoint.
That I
at
would
this
appoint.
point. Okay,
Correct.
okay, all right.
Correct. The process is still open. And so if you know of somebody who is interested, they can still apply.
Madam
But
Mayor,
at some point, we have to get to the time period where, we have to do an appointment. Yes, ma'am.
Last thing, real quickly, I think that just put it in everybody's head, I think it might be a good idea to have a fair of sorts, because there are people who care, but they're like, oh my goodness, that seems like a lot. It seems like a big time commitment. It seems like this, that, and they don't know what they're signing up for. And so they hesitate to sign up. So if we have an informal situation where people who might be interested could come and find out how they could use their talents. And then we do have some people who are like, I'll do whatever, but they don't know what whatever is. Right. So they want us to tell them. So I think that might be something that we should look into doing in the very near future, so that residents can come and ask questions and get clarification on what their responsibilities would be. And that would also give us a time to, as we had talked about in committee, that would give us a time to look at, get people ready for the 80th as well.
Yep.
Just a thought.
No, we actually discussed that. Same thing with our boards and commissions, and we're open to set a day to have a fair. It's not an issue at all. We want to make sure that we can facilitate that.
And just for the record, Madam Mayor, if you're fine, just reading from section 210 when it comes to council vacancies and how. So council vacancies shall be filled within 60 days by a vote of a majority of the remaining council members. If council fails to fill such vacancy within 60 days, the mayor shall fill it by appointment. So I just want to make sure that I had that for the record as well, too.
Thank you. Is that the way you understood it, the way you said it earlier?
Yeah, that the vacancy.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, there's just so, because how I continue to understand it based upon even on the legal interpretations that the experience has told me as well too, that the vacancy first has to exist, then the remaining council members first and have to have a chance to actually vote and try to fill it. If they don't, if we like in a dead tie of the vote, then at that point within those 60 days, that's how I interpret it.
Gotcha. And so for the record, we did officially vacate the seat when we accepted Ruby Kenzie Mumphrey's resignation. We officially vacated the seat through legislation. And it was near that time is when we submitted the adjusted application. I just don't have the exact date, but we can go back and look at that. Not a problem. All right. There's nothing else on Committee of the Whole. Put your mic down so we can hear it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second to adjourn Committee of the Whole. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We shall return in approximately 20 minutes. Is it 20?
We'll have a public.
What time is it? Did we say 7?
Ago.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. My eyes aren't that good. So we're ready to, let's take 2 minutes so we can get ready to have the public hearing. The Village of Lincoln Heights is calling to order the public hearing for the 2026 permanent appropriation for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. Today is Monday, March 30th, 2026. Time is approximately 7:12 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber,
Present.
Councilwoman Saretha Brown,
Present.
Councilwoman Trina Carter,
Present.
Councilman Norvery Tate,
Present.
Vice Mayor Durance Daniels,
Present.
Mayor Tanya Key.
Present.
We have 6 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. New business, ordinance number 2026-03. It's the annual 2026 permanent appropriation ordinance. Mr. Gaines.
Thank you, Mayor Key. Village Council, this evening before you is the permanent appropriations budget for 2026. Before we dive deep into the specific items associated with permanent appropriations, I'm going to yield the floor to our Finance Director, Mr. John Key, who will provide details on the annual budget process.
Thank you, Manager. The 2026 budget process started back in April of 2025. That's when the Finance Director started preparing estimates of all the available resources for the upcoming 2026 year. And those resources include taxes, fees, revenues from other intergovernmental, and any carryover balances. After these estimates were created, the village manager is then to create a budget for 2026 before July 15th of 2025. And during that time, it's a planned budget. Obviously, the budget for the appropriations does not get passed until January and March, but the planned expenditures are included in the annual budgeting process, which is what we call the tax budget in July. So that's the first budget that we pass, is the tax budget that's passed in July, and it's for 2026. After the budget is passed, the Budget Commission from Hamilton County provides us with an official certificate of estimated resources. And what that is they're okaying or changing the estimates that the finance director sent down to them. And then from there, council passes the amounts and rates, which include any tax levies, real estate property tax that we will be subject to receive in 2026. That's passed in September, October, depending on when they get it to us. From there, the village manager prepares a temporary budget or temporary appropriation for January through March, which is the first 3 months of the year. And that's prepared because carryover estimates won't be ready January 1st. They don't normally be ready until after February, when the previous year is closed out. Then all the carryover will be sent down to the Budget Commission, and then we pass the permanent appropriations for the rest of 2026. So that's where we are. We started back in April. We passed the tax budget, which is this same budget with minor tweaks. We didn't know if the levies were going to pass, if you remember. So we budgeted without the levy funds. So after the levies passed in November, I had to adjust the estimated resources based off of the additional monies. And this budget was then retooled by the current village manager, and that's what you have before you now.
Thank you, Mr. Key. And I am going to go through each of these funds and provide details on what some of these items are. So for the general fund, 1,000 for manager and administrative offices, the personal services is allocated for $200,963. This is for salaries, benefits, and travel reimbursements. All other expenditures is for contractual services, 200,000 for matching funds for the concession stand, 50,000 for a grant shortage for the concession stand, facilities upgrades in accordance with our 2025 Hamilton County Sheriff's Office risk assessment, supplies, materials, and recurring monthly expenditures. Next is legislative activities. This is for personal services for $97,915. This is for salary, stipends, benefits, and travel reimbursement. All other expenditures for the number of $26,185. This is for membership dues, training, conferences, supplies, and materials. Mayor's Court has an expenditure of $7,765. And this is for contractual services for magistrate fees, contracted clerk of court fees, the mayor's court software, and supplies and materials. Next is the clerk/treasurer or finance department. This is for Personal services for the tune of $167,000. Sorry, $167,693, and this is for salary, benefits, and travel reimbursement. All other expenditures, $10,141, which is contractual services, memberships, training, conferences, supplies, and materials. Lands and building or code enforcement. The personal services is for $40,059. This is for salary, benefits, and travel reimbursement. All other expenditures, $4,141. This is for membership fees, trainings, and conferences. Boards and commissions, there is a expenditure of $5,000, and this is specifically for training for all of those that will be contributing on boards and commissions. Next is property tax collection fees for $13,674, and this is payment to Hamilton County to collect property taxes. Auditor state fees, $30,000. The 2024-2025 audit will take place this year, and we've already received information that this will cost a total of $30,000. For the solicitor, this is for $130,000. This was the amount budgeted for 2025, including a 5% increase. Other general government or public works, this is for $319,552. This includes salary, benefits, and travel reimbursement. Transfers, the expenditures for this is $480,720, and this is associated with transferring monies over to take care of any shortages for the police levy funds. And contingencies, all other expenditures, this is for $100,000, and this is for coverage for any litigation that may come against the Village of Lincoln Heights. The total general fund is for $2,552,845, and this includes set aside for 2027 temporary appropriations before receiving real estate taxes, any shortages in police and fire levy funds as we'll be renegotiating for 2027 through 2029, and we'll be anticipating having $600,000 from 2025, but due to the hard work from our finance director, we were able to carry over twice that amount to the tune of $1.2 million. I know that there has been some commentary that we are depleting our general fund, but we are carrying over almost $1 million for the previously mentioned purposes.
You said that was fire you was on, right?
What's that?
That was the fire line you was on? Which line was it? You said we had to carry over about $600,000.
The overall. Yeah.
Overall budget, I'm sorry, overall.
Next, we're going to get into 2011, which is the Street Construction Maintenance and Repair Fund. This is for the street projects that are occurring within the Village of Lincoln Heights, and this is for $198,948. The Hamilton County Public Health Grant Fund 2064. This is for public health services. This is for this is a grant we received maybe in either 2022 or 2023. And this is some of the funds that are left outstanding from that have been carried over. And what we're looking to do is possibly use this for the installation of park course equipment at the Memorial Field Athletic Complex. The Permissive Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund 2101 for street maintenance and repair. This is for $21,749, and this is for street lighting. The Indigent Drivers Alcohol Fund 2271. This is for $1,133. This is funds that have carried over, and we're looking to transfer this money to another municipality that has this fund and these programming for indigent drivers. Similarly, with the Opioid Settlement Fund 2272, this expenditure is for $13,206. And we do not have a program associated with this, so we are looking to transfer this to a local government that has this fund and programming because this is tied to the courts.
Just help me understand that one more time when you say we're looking for other communities to, like, because what it sounds like you're saying that we're going to just give it to another community that has the program you're sending it to. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Is there not a proper, so would it not be better for us just to create the program here? Instead of just giving away $14,000?
Yeah, that is a great question. We do not have the program currently, and if
Especially
Can I ask the
especially
question?
with the, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, would that be under law and safety for a opioid, for these programs to be developed? Because I do believe at some point in our lives, we had these programs in Lincoln Heights.
I have not heard of any programs that have been associated with this because it's tied to mayor's court, but
We had Mayor's Court, we
So
collected.
before we go too far down into the weeds on it, the Indigent Drivers Fund and the Opioid Settlement Fund, I believe I heard you say you're considering that. I don't think any of us necessarily are going to be in agreement with transferring it over to another municipality.
Okay.
I think that we are budgeting for that, so it's obviously earmarked to be able to be spent on certain things, certain programs. And so, Finance Committee Chair, we would like these items to be talked about in Finance Committee and also in Law and Public Safety, because I think it's worth getting additional information. I remember the opioid settlement fund. There were certain things that you could only spend that money on. And if every municipality in the state of Ohio received the money, I do know that there's other municipalities who are pulling together saying, we don't have programming for it, but I want to look a little bit closer into that to see what we can bring back and be able to do back into the community for those funds. The indigent fund, I understand it's for individuals who may have had to appear to court, mayor's court, and they were identified as indigent, and these funds would take care of their fees, their court costs, and things like that. And because we are not actively writing tickets, so I can understand the $1,000, being able to look at it a little bit closer to see if there's any other way we can use that. But the $13,000, I'm in agreement that we should consider that in our finance meetings or law and public safety. But please provide us with the information as to how those funds can be spent, because these are restricted funds and they can only be spent certain ways. And if that's the case, if we get down to the case where we can't spend it because of whatever the reasons are, then we want to be able to come back and talk about it. But I think for the conversation that we're having today, these are the funds that we have, and this is the monies that we have in that fund. All right. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
And it has to be appropriated in such a way.
Because I just know one of the things that we had spoke about last time was the public awareness campaign, and just kind of what does that mean when you talk about public awareness campaigns. So if we're talking about just educating our individuals on how we do that, I think we might be able to be creative, not the right word, but definitely,
Appropriate.
yeah,
Right.
how we do that.
And since we contract our police and fire,
Especially with Hamilton County. Sorry.
and so those are funds that, because we contract our fire with Woodlawn, if we are saying that we're going to send it to Woodlawn so that Woodlawn can provide public awareness in the village, that is, I think, a better use of those type of funds. But we have to appropriate those dollars, and I think that's what this work is doing, is to appropriate those dollars. How we spend them moving forward, definitely on committee. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Police levy.
Yeah, so we're on Police Levy Fund 2902. The expenditures associated with this are $1,900,000. $9,156. This is all the levy funds for police. The fire levy, 2903. The expenditures associated with this are $542,681. And the infrastructure levy fund, 2904, for street maintenance and repair is $503,967. All levy funds, general fund, police, fire, and infrastructure, they're all funded by local taxes. All other special revenue funds and capital improvement funds are funded by other sources like state, county, and private grants. So the total infrastructure levy fund is for, oh, sorry, I already spoke about that. Next is the Lincoln Heights Days Festival Fund, 2905. And Councilwoman Brown, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. The monies that we have appropriated is $4,601. This is the seed money for the 80th anniversary. We have not yet received official word on the $25,000 grant that we are anticipating to receive. However, this is the amount that we have currently, and there may be roughly $30,000 once those funds have been awarded. For code remediation program, the grant fund, this is 2910. This is for $95,001, and I'm sorry, $95,001. There we go. It's tongue-tied. So we're conferring with First Financial on the grant requirements for this purpose for implementation. We received these funds in 2023, but we will move forward with project rollouts once those requirements have been established and received. The Residential Recycling Incentive Program Grant Fund, 2911. This is for $8,147. Mayor's Court Computerization Fund, 2912, is for $3,000. This is associated with the software and materials for Mayor's Court. 2426 Tree Canopy Project, 2913. This is for $85,100. The CDBG Memorial Field Grant Funds, 4202. This is to help maintain the parks and parks. This is $8,034. Sure.
This, for the trees, let's go back to the trees. We haven't planted those trees already. Will we be planting more trees than what's already there?
Yes, we have several different purposes that we can use the tree canopy project monies for. And we have initiated the process of planting the trees. There's still a lot of monies left to expend within the calendar year, but we are going to be moving forward with that. I think former village manager Mike Lemon initiated this this project as part of the 3-year ask from Hamilton County. We still have a sizable amount of funds left for this purpose, and we're going to move towards spending that down this year.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask the question? Do we do have Mayor's Court or we don't?
We do.
Okay. All right. Go on.
Okay. The Community Impact Grant Fund. This is for $391,821. This is monies that was given to us through Hamilton County Economic Development for, I believe, for some projects that were happening within the village. I want to make sure I'm speaking correctly on this. The Community Impact Grant Funds that's associated with the concession stand as well.
Yes.
The balance of the Community Impact Grant Fund are going towards the 2 street projects that we currently have. If you guys remember, this was a $975,000 grant we got from Hamilton County. And the first use of it was $100,000 towards the REDS program when they came out and did a giant community revitalization. Then a portion was used to tear down the old building on Lindy Avenue and then the balance were for these two street projects. So they're gap funding for the Simmons Avenue and the Adams Jackson Cary Douglas street projects. This is the remaining balance.
Thank you. And my apologies for misspeaking on that one. So the concession stand project fund is 4204, and the total expenditure for that is $404,200. The Simmons Avenue Street Project Fund 4209 is for $1,022,926. The Adams, Jackson, McGee, Cary, and Chester Street Project Fund 4211 is for $1,664,541. The Community-Wide Broadband Grant Fund 4212. This is for $51,063. This is the amount remaining from a grant from United Way for technical assistance. Council passed legislation to approve TechSoft Systems as our consultant to pay. We use these monies to pay his contract fees. The Van Buren Street Project Fund 4213. This is for $701,230. And that is the end of the appropriation funds. If you have any questions or comments, Council, I'll be more than happy to field those.
I have some questions, please.
So 1 second for me. Can we, if you have questions, let's ask 2 questions, and then we'll see if any other council members have questions, and then we'll go back, because I'm not sure how many questions we all may have.
Well,
But Ms.
let me-
Baber, you can start.
Let me give him these, so then he'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I ask my question.
Thank you.
So, my question is, because when you started on this, on the first 2 pages, or the first page, it was 2 pages when I wrote it out for me. You said it was just a little bit different from when we did that proposal back in, what was it?
25?
When we voted.
On
25?
Yeah,
Is that
when
what
we
you think?
voted on 25 for the first 3 to 6 months or whatever.
the temporary appropriations. Yes.
But, so what I did is, on the left side, I put what it was for the appropriation back then. And then on the right side, I put the proposal, what's in this proposal, and then I subtracted it. So it's not like a small amount of money, it's a lot of money. So can you kind of make me understand how it's like this? The underline is the difference.
Mr. Key, I'm not going to try to answer it, but I think I heard the answer, but I want to make sure it's what Mr. Key has said earlier. Mr. Key, would you like to address it?
Yeah, the temporary appropriations just for the first 3 months of the year. What you're seeing right here is for the whole year, and it includes the first 3 months temporary appropriation amounts. So that $200,963 is for personal services, which is the village manager and the administrative assistants, salaries, and benefits, and any travel reimbursements for the whole year. That $49,988 was enough to cover the village manager's salaries for the first 3 months of this year, because we haven't gotten all of our real estate tax monies from the county yet. So the temporary appropriation is just for the first 3 months. But when we do pass the permanent appropriations, it's for the whole, all 12 months, including those monies on the left.
So it was, I remember that we were voting on the first 6 months. And according to this appropriation, this is for the official year ending December the 31st, 2026. So it's like it's going from June to whatever. But I also remember when we voted on that, that made our taxes go forward 6 months. That's what that $8,000 was for.
I don't know what the $8,000 you're referring to.
Well, see, the 8,000, where is it? The property tax collection fee is the $81,000 that I'm referring to.
$8,100?
Yeah, well, 8,100.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, 8,100.
Yeah, so the 8,100 was if we got, you remember Mr. Desai passed legislation that we could draw down our taxes early. So we sent that down to the county, and if the county would have sent all of that taxes early to us, then the first half fee would have been $8,100. So that would have come in the first 3 months of the year. Those taxes would have come in the first 3 months of the year. We did the drawdown legislation, and we got about 1/10 of the total amounts so far.
But it also made us pay 6 months early. Because normally.
Yeah, but we only paid,
6 months.
right, we didn't pay the $8,100 because we only pay a fee, which is a percentage of the amount they send us.
You said we did not pay the
We didn't pay
81.
the whole $8,100, no.
So on this one, will we be paying the whole 13,674?
Throughout the year, we paid a little bit for the little bit that they gave us. They'll be sending us more, hopefully this month, or it'll be April. They'll send us hopefully the whole rest of the first half in April, and then somewhere in August or September, they'll send us the second half.
I just don't want our taxes going up again.
Well, they're not gonna change from what the residents voted on. So they're not gonna go up unless the county goes out and does another assessment, but they just did one last year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I remember when the county person came here, they said that we were paying taxes based on what the village needed. It had nothing to do with our property value. So I just don't want us to be sending all this money down there, and then they determine based on this money that our taxes will be going up again. I mean, it has happened.
Yeah, this is just the fees for the collection of the taxes. So they're gonna give us in April and August, September, hopefully, they're gonna give us 2 more disbursements of all of the tax monies that they are collecting for 2025.
So you're saying this is not gonna make our taxes go up, and come June when we get our tax bill, it should be the same as January?
Yeah, this is just the fees that we have to pay them for collecting them for us. This is not us paying them to collect more than they're supposed to, and then we pay them more. This is just the fee for collections.
I mean, that's what happened last time. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? And I do want to say, like we talked about in committee of the whole, I do strongly suggest there's some items that I have marked off that I would like economic development to talk about as well. And so these are the appropriations. These are the amounts of funding that we are scheduled to receive from the county. We want to make sure that the items that, as far as oversight, the monies that we have said that we appropriated funds into certain categories that we are executing and we are doing, whether it's construction, whether it's beautification, making sure that we have police and fire services, working on the concession stand. So all the items that we have on this appropriation budget, that we are actually performing and doing those and spending money properly out of the correct funds. So there are some items that I know that we're going to talk about in law and public safety. We're going to talk about in finance committee as well. There are some items that we're going to want to talk about in economic development and in recreation when it comes to beautification, to make sure that we are operating within the funding strategies that we are looking to approve today. Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Carter.
Also, in that vein, I'm sorry, I just heard my mother's voice and tripped me out. Okay. Can we possibly, just a thought, can we maybe color code? I know what we have online. It is available online on the website, which thank you for that. But can we have it maybe color coded so we know, so the residents will know restricted funds, so we know if something is set aside, if it's earmarked for something, that's all it can be used for, just for a little bit more education, a little more transparency.
Good point. Good point. Definitely. Let's look at that, Mr. Brown. That would be great, as far as we want to make sure that our residents understand and know the budget and how it operates. And so I appreciate that comment. That's very helpful. One other item that I would like for us to identify is, and point out, I know we have done it before, and that is the levies, having the date in which those levies are scheduled, like how long those levies are, like the longevity of those levies. That would be helpful as well, so that we have an idea. Infrastructure levy, what's the time period on it? Police and fire. My brain won't go to those spreadsheets before, but that's going to be very helpful as we communicate to the residents. These are the funds that we're expecting to receive, and this is how long we're expecting to receive those funds. Yes, ma'am.
So also, I inside of this, there's raises. It has to be raises in here because of the different amount of money, and we haven't voted on any raises. And I just wish that we would have had finance meetings to talk about this prior to this. I thought when we moved the time to the 30th for this meeting that we would have had a finance meeting prior to, so that we could have discussed this more lengthy, because we all just got this, Wednesday? We just got the finance stuff Wednesday. So it makes it hard for me to vote on it when we haven't really talked about it. And I hear what you're saying, that it was just a quarter of the money at the beginning, but it's still not adding up to me because it's too much of a difference.
Mr. Brown, is there a time period in which this has to be voted on and sent down to the county?
Let me pull this up right quick.
March 31st.
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I had the appropriate charter reference.
Madam Chair, the draft of the budget has been available since March 6th because we had to post it in the newspaper. So the budget has been available since March 6th. I don't know if Lisa didn't get it to you, or
No,
you didn't get it till then, but it's been available since March 6th for
when I
public
came
inspection.
down here to get it the other day, she was tearing up one and saying that this is a new one.
It has the same numbers. It's just a different lineup, but it's been available since March 6th because
Okay, so then we should have had a financial meeting. That's what I'm saying. If it's been available that long, then we should have been talking about it in finance prior to today. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Any other questions? I do know we do have a finance committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, April 7th.
Yes.
At 5:30 p.m. And that's when we can have additional conversations about any items on the budget, as well as what are the items that are restricted, and what are the items that we can have some say into how items are spent, how dollars are spent.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
for Councilwoman Baber, though this has to be passed by March 31st, it's not written in stone. You can pass a supplemental appropriation to change, if council wants to change things or add monies or remove monies. Council still has that at any time throughout the year. You don't have to, when you sign off today, it's not, you never can change it. It usually changes throughout the year anyway.
I just don't want to be put in a trick bag, bottom line.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Is this the same, I'm sorry, but we are new. Is this the same budget that was looked at in November, December? Is this the same one, or has it been changed?
No, that was the temporary
That was
appropriation.
just the
That's
temporary. Okay.
that's using the carryover funds to cover the first 3 months of the year because we don't expect to get all of our tax collections done before April. So you pass a temporary budget based off of the official certificate. And then after we know what monies we're expecting, after the residents voted on the levies, that increased the amounts we expected, and then the carryover was more than what we anticipated also. So it changed the numbers up.
Thank you.
And a positive. Thank you. Any other questions at this time?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
In this appropriation that you want us to vote on, it's also a Exhibit B back here, which talks about the raises. And we haven't discussed them. I mean, I see it's here, but we haven't discussed this. So it's a part of the same legislation.
Yep. And I believe I heard the finance director say that this is what we are saying at this time as far as what the village manager has put to paper based on what he wants to recommend for his staff, based on what he recommends that how money should be spent. And if there's any areas, and if we're saying that we don't want our staff to receive raises in today's economy, that, might be something that we want to step back and take a look at. But we also want to make sure that, I'm just saying, yep, I'm letting everybody speak, and I'm going to speak too. I'm just saying that we want to make sure that we take a good look at this in our finance meeting that we're going to have. And so I don't know how the salaries stand out as far as other communities, other municipalities. I think that's worth taking a look at as well, based on what our staff does every day and the ranges that are here.
It's just that in the past, we vote on salary
We have.
changes.
That's right.
And so, yeah, so I'm like, wow, so we got this new council, we trying to do something different because they don't know, that this is how it's done.
No, I don't think anybody's trying to do anything different. I think we are trying to move it forward. And I don't see where, like we have voted in the past, where we specified, well, yeah, it's
Madam-
here.
So can I get some clarification?
Yes.
So I'm not reading it that there was raises, maybe because I don't know how much people were being paid before, but this looks like what the current salaries are, what it could be, and how it can shift because of the pay range. That's how I read it, but I don't know. Am I looking at that wrong, or are there actual raises reflecting? Because I wouldn't know. I don't know. I wasn't here.
It's reflecting raises.
Mayor,
Yes, village manager.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So what is presented within the 2026 pay plan has the current salaries and where we are for each of our positions. However, the table B gives pay ranges by grade, and with respect to the raises, these proposed raises, this would be up to a 7% increase.
So it's a proposed, not already
Proposed. It's
happened.
not set in stone.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. But
Any other questions? I'm sorry.
no, I'm clear. I understand. I thought that's how I understood it, but okay.
Yes, Ms. Carter, Councilwoman Carter.
I was just going to point out that it does say all compensation is subject to the council's appropriation. So it is there. So we all can remember that we do have to vote on that according to the charter, right? Yeah, I believe.
Yep. Thank you. All right. There's no other questions. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes carry.